What is the most significant interaction you've had with an unhoused person? What is the most significant interaction you've had with an unhoused person?
Have you had any significant interactions with someone who was unhoused?
What is the most significant interaction you've had with an unhoused person? Was it positive? Negative? What conclusions can you make about your biases towards these people? For our Civics project, we decided to investigate the biases formed towards people experiencing homelessness. 3 of us went to Echo Park and USC Village to get the opinions of some left-leaning groups, while 2 of us scavenged news articles to gain an understanding of right-wing opinions.
But what causes homelessness? Both sides generally agree on some causes, which include
at its root, economic injustice.
Mental health.
High housing prices is a huge part of it.
Drugs, alcohol, addiction.
Maybe that person doesn't have family to help them out and get them on their feet.
Systemic inequality.
Lacking support from the community and the government.
Some people don't have a safety net. So if they lose their job and they don't have family and friends, good luck trying to afford a place here.
And in order to soften the stigma surrounding homelessness, it's advised to change the language used in discussions regarding it. Calling someone a person experiencing homelessness is usually more appropriate than calling them a homeless person. The former is person-first language, emphasizing the people first instead of the descriptor. Our media literacy guide explores this topic with more depth.
Now that you have proper context for this issue, we ask once again,
what is the most significant interaction you've had with an unhoused person?
2 weeks ago, I was walking back to University Gateway where I live. There was somebody laying down on a bench, and he looked sad, so I just asked him, I was like, hey, what's going on? And he was cool. I sat down with him, he talked to me. He was really cool, actually. We had a good time. I bought him Subway, and it was a good time. It was like a 40-minute conversation.
What did you guys talk about?
Like the stuff he was going through. It sounded like he had a lot of like personal issues. He didn't want to open up too much, but just like relationship issues.
I was in house at one point in my life, and it was very scary. I was 18 years old and had no family, no home, and I had 4 jobs, but still couldn't get an apartment or anybody to help me out, So I understand that struggle. It's not as black and white as people want to see. Oh, you have money now, just go buy a house and like live your life. It's so many other variables, like there's food and there's transportation to get to certain places. It's a lot of things, and I know friends even now that are always like 5 deep in a house just because they're so scared to be homeless.
I did campaigning for this organization called Nobody Leaves Mid-Hudson, and I basically would call people who were experiencing homelessness during COVID. There was one woman I talked to who was a homeless veteran who had an indigenous background as well. And she had basically gone into homelessness because her husband had a lot of medical bills and they weren't covered. So she ended up being in homelessness. Her experiences were really difficult to hear because she served the country, her husband did, she's indigenous, of indigenous descent, so that was really hard to listen to.
I mean, I've been homeless myself before, so I kind of know how it is, but some bad shit went down between like my dad and this other person, and then we just end up with no place to live, so we're just bouncing between like places, like friends' houses and stuff, So luckily I had that, but there's a lot of people who don't, they don't have the resources available to them, So
I'm a pastor in the neighborhood at Echo Park, and throughout the years I encountered a number of homeless people. I was kind of assigned to take on the kind of financial affairs of a mentally ill homeless person. I kind of experienced all the different levels of what homelessness and homelessness related to substance abuse and medical and mental illness, all that.
all of the people that we interviewed aligned themselves with the left wing. So we also asked other questions to these people and got some answers as to their general opinions on homelessness and media. First, on the topic of news sources, a lot of them mentioned how they listened to podcasts, smaller sources, and/or a wide variety of sources.
Typically NPR.
Podcasts mostly. We listen to Rising and Breaking Point.
The news app on my phone.
Literally everything. I read the CNN stuff, the Fox stuff, from everybody's point of view.
Probably social media.
We also asked them what sources they did not trust.
Fox.
Fox.
Fox News.
Like Fox News. Fox.
Tends to be the CNN, not the Fox.
Fox.
I don't trust Fox.
Fox.
You can see that, unsurprisingly, people were not fans of Fox News, an extremely right-wing news channel. We also asked people what they thought could be done about homelessness as well. These are some of the ideas that came up.
Get more access to things, make therapy free, make healthcare free. We need to be accountable for each other and really look at the world as a community.
We need more facilities for mental illness, 100%. I think we need more rehab facilities. We definitely need 100% more affordable housing in this city. It's ridiculous.
I think affordable housing is a big one. If the city could permit and entitle lots for affordable housing more easily, instead of needing so much community approval at certain times, I feel like that could be helpful.
One of the major techniques for solving homelessness that we found through research was the housing first method. This method ensures people are given stable housing, job training, and medical treatment before joining the workforce. Finally, we asked them about the controversial topic of if they believe in accessible housing for the homeless in their community.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, 100%. 100%. Yes.
On the flip side, the right wing have articulated a de-emphasis on sheltering, and an emphasis towards services treating mental health, substance abuse, and other such afflictions. The New York Post have shown stories of people experiencing homelessness and choosing not to live in shelters offered to them. For example, a homeless encampment in Portland had been given a week's notice to leave for the construction of a pickleball court and were offered shelter, yet the encampment still had to be moved by city officials. For such reasons, the right wing tends to believe in treatment first before housing. Republican recall candidate John Cox talks about his plan to address homelessness by explaining, "First, you've got to have treatment first, not housing first. Treatment first. And yes, we're going to have to force people into that treatment if need be." Cox proceeds to further justify his position, stating that we have spent too much money on sheltering the unhoused, and that the funding should go towards mental health services. From our research, we've concluded a couple things. It seems as if both sides of the political spectrum can agree that homelessness is a major issue and that needs to be solved. Both sides can also agree that some of the problems that need to be fixed are things like mental health and substance abuse. However, the parties differ in their methods of accomplishing these goals, with the left believing in housing first and the right wing believing in treatment first. Now think back to that significant interaction. How can you apply your newfound knowledge about homelessness to that person? Ultimately, it's an important question to ask, because the nuances of homelessness grow deeper than just a single story.